Good evening and welcome to Prime Focus News with me, Judith James. Tonight, we bring you a story that is both heartbreaking and deeply moving, one that highlights the resilience of the human spirit even in the face of unimaginable loss. After 16 months in captivity, Israeli hostage Eli Sharabi has been freed, but his homecoming was marked by devastating news. Sharabi, who was abducted by Hamas from the Be'eri kibbutz in Israel on October 7, 2023, returned with hope in his heart, expecting to reunite with his wife and daughters. Instead, he learned that his British-born wife, Lianne Sharabi, and their two daughters, Noiya and Yahel, had been brutally murdered on the same day he was taken. The emotional toll on Sharabi has been immense, yet those close to him say his spirit remains unbroken. Despite enduring extreme conditions, including severe starvation, he never lost hope that he would make it back home. Now, as he attempts to rebuild his life, his story sheds light on the lasting scars of war and conflict. Our correspondent brings us the full story, including exclusive insights from Sharabi's British brother-in-law, who visited him shortly after his release.
Eli Sharabi learned his wife and daughters had been killed after his release from captivity in Gaza but is mentally strong, says his British brother-in-law. "Don't worry, I will be back. Whatever they do to me, I will be back," were some of the last words Eli Sharabi told his wife and daughters before he was abducted by Hamas. When the 52-year-old was finally freed after 16 months in captivity in Gaza, he was desperate to know if his family was waiting for him. It was only then that he was told that his British wife, Lianne Sharabi, 48, and their daughters, Noiya, 16, and Yahel, 13, had been murdered in their home at the Be'eri kibbutz in Israel on October 7, 2023. Stephen Brisley, Lianne's brother, visited Sharabi in an Israeli hospital just days after his release as part of a ceasefire and hostage exchange deal. "We just threw our arms around each other and hugged each other. I was scared to hug him too tight because he's so skinny and emaciated. I was almost scared that I was going to break him if I hugged him too hard. But I hugged him, kissed him, told him I loved him," Brisley told the Prime Focus News. "One of the first things he said to me was, 'I'm so sorry.' It's a mark of the man that he's such a family man that his first thoughts were making sure I'm okay and expressing condolences to me. Physically, it's really upsetting to see. Obviously, he's being well looked after in the hospital, trying to get his weight back up and seeing what long-term damage, if any, has been caused. But mentally, he's so strong. He was telling me that he never doubted that he would come out, not for a second. He promised Lianne and the girls that he would be back, that he would come back. And he kept that promise, but unfortunately, they weren't there to greet him." Sharabi was released alongside two other Israeli hostages, or Levi, 34, and Ohad Ben Ami, 56, on February 8, 2025, after nearly 500 days in captivity. All three men looked frail and gaunt as they were paraded in front of a crowd that included armed Hamas fighters in Gaza City before their release. Speaking on stage before being handed over to the Red Cross, Sharabi said he was very happy today to return to "my wife and daughters." Brisley, from Bridgend in South Wales, said, "That was the final bit of psychological torture that Hamas visited upon him, to have him up on stage at the handover that was dripping in propaganda, to have him thanking his captors, to say I'm looking forward to seeing my family and being reunited with my wife and children. It was when he was in the transfer vehicle with the IDF going from Gaza into Israeli soil that he asked, 'Are Lianne and the girls waiting for me?' And it was a soldier from the IDF who had to break the news to him that they'd been killed." Brisley said Sharabi has only shared bits and pieces of his time in captivity but described starvation as one of the most difficult aspects. "We know that he was held with other hostages at various times. Some of them were younger men, and Eli being Eli, he became a sort of father figure to them and tried to look after them. I think that gave him some purpose," Brisley said. "He was fed once a day, a small amount of pasta or rice, and that was pretty much it. And he said almost the most difficult thing to deal with was the starvation, the lack of food. It's just on your mind all day, every day." But Sharabi was keen to talk about his memories of his Bristol-born wife and daughters, reminiscing with Brisley about their Christmases together and their last holiday to Thailand. Having seen how gaunt and pale he was at the handover and the darkness in his eyes, I was scared that the light was gone and that Eli wasn't in there anymore. But the most reassuring thing about being reunited with him is to see that Eli is very much still there. He's incredibly mentally strong, Brisley said. Despite the unimaginable loss and the horrors of captivity, Eli Sharabi's resilience stands as a testament to the strength of the human spirit. As he begins the long journey of healing, he carries with him the memories of his beloved wife and daughters, ensuring their legacy lives on.
Let's take a closer look at this tragic yet inspiring account of survival and strength. Eli Sharabi's story is a heartbreaking reminder of the human cost of conflict. While he has survived unimaginable hardship, the loss of his family is a pain that can never be erased. His resilience, however, stands as a testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of tragedy. As he begins the long journey of healing, his story echoes the suffering of many others affected by the ongoing conflict. The international community continues to call for lasting peace and a resolution that prevents such tragedies from happening again. That's all for now on this developing story. Stay with us for further updates. Thank you for joining us. You were with me, Judith James.